Hey guys, it's been a little while, a couple months, but I've been busy with the professionals tournament and Blitz and working on my team and making sure that we're ready to go. And so the YouTube has been a bit on the back burner. Apologies for that, but now we're back and we're jumping straight in to 3 replays, all with the Sheridan, one of the most broken tanks to ever be put into the game that really has no place in this game right now. It's just too strong, simply. So our first replay is from Mr. KV2. He's in Void's brother clan, Void 2, and he's going to show us and warm us up on how to play the Sheridan and how strong it can truly be without even using the missiles. He's not going to fire a single missile this entire match, and he's still going to have an insane result simply due to this tank's mobility and its alpha damage. Those two factors combined basically make this tank already a T49 at tier 10, where play is slower, and a tank with lower DPM and higher alpha and speed can really make its mark and show its ability on the battlefield. So he's already gotten one shot off into the enemy tank down below. Now him and his teammates are killing the K91 at mid, and then he's going to rotate right through towards the city side of this map and take a turn towards their spawn. Now, there's at least one tank destroyer over here, the FV, so he's going to quickly avoid getting shot by him. And then the 57 Heavy gets spotted for the first time in this match. So he's got two tanks here. He's going to poke really quickly on the 1A3, not even giving him a chance to really aim. And that's something that you can at least somewhat comfortably do in the Sheridan, simply due to its mobility. And honestly, even if the 183 had been able to hit him, he might not have penned with Hesh because of the spaced armor on this vehicle. Now, even though this tank has really abysmal DPM, it didn't used to, but it's worse now. It still is just absolutely a beast of a vehicle. And he's going to very closely avoid this shot from the Centurion 7-1. It goes into the rock behind him, and he snaps a shot into the Centurion. He was sitting here just simply waiting to reload, calling for help from his teammates because it's currently surrounded by 3 tanks. The 183 isn't looking at him. Now there is one of the downsides of this vehicle. It does have horrible accuracy. And so you need to get up close and personal, like Mr. KV2 is doing right here, to really make it worse. He's going to put an HE shot into the back of the 183. The E100 came around behind him. He's going to bounce off of the extremely disgusting spaced armor that this tank has on the rear of its vehicle. For those of you who don't know, about a foot of the rear of the Sheridan is simply spaced armor. It's not an actual part of the tank. It's completely separate, and if you do manage to hit it side on, chances are you won't actually do damage to the tank, and it will simply bounce off. Now that's only because there is actually not any tank there. He's going to get a nice HE round into the Conway as he drives past it. He's already at 5k damage right now. At this point in the match, he is just now having to actually try. It's still a 2v3, now a 2v2, but this game is extremely comfortable. He's simply driven around the entire map and taken one HE shot of damage. Like, this tank is so incredibly strong. There is not a single other tank in the game that would have been able to perform the way that this tank has performed in this match. A medium tank simply wouldn't have the alpha. You would have to expose yourself for too long, and tanks would focus you down. In a heavy tank, you won't have the mobility. In a tank destroyer, you don't have the turret. Like, you simply can't do things like he's doing right now. You can't do this and hit 600 alpha into the side of an E100 and then bounce him off of your spaced armor. There's no other tank that can do this. And add on top of that, the fact that this tank also has missiles that can shoot over, cover, and around corners, just makes this tank just an extreme powerhouse. And it's no surprise that it's used in almost every single tournament battle, because it's just that strong. In any match where you don't have to rush and you don't need DPM, the Sheridan will almost always be taken, because it can shoot over cover, and the alpha and the speed allows for just plays that wouldn't be possible with any other tank. Even something like a bat shot, it takes 6 seconds to get your 900 alpha clip out, and that's just unrealistic. So he ends this match with 7.5k damage, 2 kills, and honestly didn't really try. The game just gave it to him because of the tank that he was driving. 15 shots fired, just insane result, obviously. But this tank is really, really something, and it needs to be balanced. This next replay is from Ghost Ranger. He is a Void player who has moved to Pramo for tournament play, and he's going to show us just how, once again, how the Sheridan can just outperform other tanks in so many different aspects. He's going to show us what you can do with missiles and how you can use them to shoot tanks really anywhere on the map with no ability for them to be able to shoot you back. And that ability is simply game breaking. Now, he's showing us a route up to this ramp that probably most people don't actually know about. It can only be done in very specific tanks that are fast enough. And generally, if you're too slow, you will get shot while you try and climb that. But in a tank like the Sheridan, you can take that risk very easily, because even if there is somebody there, you will be able to hit them for 600 alpha. And what are they going to do about that? They can't. So their entire team is on this side. After spotting that IS-7, it's pretty obvious that there's really nobody else on the other side of the map, other than maybe a tank destroyer. He missiles the IS-7. There was absolutely no way that the IS-7 could have counterplayed that, other than just not go to that position. It's things like that that make the Sheridan just incredibly strong. He fluffs a shot on the M60. Definitely tried to aim for too long. Could have penned it probably had he just gone with what he had instead of trying to wait for a better shot. He's going to hit the T-92 as the T-92 kind of pushes him. T-92 is going to miss. Still on full HP. Might try and get a missile shot here, or just normal APCR. APCR on this tank does in fact have higher alpha damage. So firing a missile will lower your DPM in this tank, which is something to note. If you're going to be brawling and you need every last bit of DPM that you can get, you shouldn't be firing missiles. You need to be firing APCR, otherwise you're going to be reducing your damage output considerably. It drops your alpha by about 100 points. Now, this game is already looking very, very bad. It's a 4v7. Sure, 3 of them are on low HP, but in any circumstance, none of his teammates are in good positions whatsoever. He's going to pick up the kill on the M60. And now he's going to have to deal with this T-92 and possibly the Sheridan behind him. It's not looking very good. All of his teammates are down in this dip. That's a horrible position. It almost always will result in death. And so Ranger sees this. He's going to run. He's going to get out of here. He already has 3k. Maybe in some realm he'll be able to pull this out as a win. As either a 3v5, now a 3v5. Or, if his teammates die, a 1v5, potentially. Now, he's brawling the Sheridan. The Sheridan did get off the first shot. Now, them both being full HP, he needs to run here. In my opinion, he probably should have turned left. It would have saved him time. And it would have stopped him from having to fight the Sheridan still. Now, he is in a 1v5, and he's not in a very good spot at all. He is going to load DHE and shoot under the spaced armor on the side of the Sheridan into the track of the vehicle, where there is no spaced armor, and as long as you miss the track, you are able to pen. He's going to pull off the insane shot into the T-92, running away on a one-shot with 6k damage and 4 kills. If he's able to clutch out this win, he will end the game with probably around 8,000 damage, 9,000 damage, and 7 kills. An absolutely monster carry. He spots the IS-7, and the IS-7 doesn't spot him. Now is a chance for him to use the missiles on this tank to shoot over cover and kill this IS-7 without the IS-7 ever having a chance to retaliate. He bounces. That is the one downside of the missiles. They are very hard to aim, and hitting weak spots on a tank can be extremely difficult. Now he gets lit. He's not really sure where he got spotted, and so he's going to come and hide behind these rocks. Chances are he got spotted from the IS-7, but maybe he got spotted by someone at mid. Who knows? There is someone in the cap circle. We haven't seen the grill yet. The grill has been unspotted this entire game. So, he might be further back in the top left of the map, or he might be here in the top right corner. We'll find out in a second, and he's right there. The instant snapshot changes to HE before he fires to maximize his damage output, rolls for around 700 damage. Really, really important. Now, he's going to use this rock, and he loads the missile. And what's he going to do? He's going to kill the IS-7 without the IS-7 ever even seeing him. But then the grill pops out, and he's dead. Now, regardless of the fact that this was a loss, it's still a mastery class with 7.2 thousand damage, 5 kills, almost a call of Bandov's medal. If he had hit that one shot on the IS-7 with that missile and penned it, this could have been a very, very different game. The grill would have had a much harder time pushing him, and he would have been able to deal with a 1v2 without someone behind him. Had that happened, this would have been a very, very different game. But missiles are inconsistent, and to be effective with them, you need to be able to hit your shots. And sometimes that just doesn't happen, as we can see with one of the best Sheridan players on the server not being able to clutch up at the end and failing a missile shot that could have thrown the game. Alright, now we are on to our third match. We're going to be watching Supreme Carrot play in a ranked battle with the Sheridan once again. This time it is on Yamato Harbor. He's going to take his Sheridan to the medium side of the map. He's going to start off somewhat aggressively, spotting this mid to see if he can get an early shot onto anybody trying to cross. There is nobody there, but he is immediately going to look for a missile shot. He sees the convoy, he scopes in, he fires, he locks his turret, and fires right over the hill, not exposing himself whatsoever, and getting an early 500 damage into the enemy team. Now, notice, there are only 3 tanks on his team on this side of the map. There is an overmatch on both sides of the map. His team has 3 tanks versus 1 on the left side, and their team has 6 tanks versus 4 on this side of the map. Notice how he's locked his turret. He's aiming up in the air so that when he does fire, the missile fires upwards, at which point it will come down vertically from above, which is a method of shooting the Sheridan's missiles. That was unlucky. He hit the convoy's mantlet, And it just goes to show that sometimes missiles are, once again, quite inconsistent, and you need to really be able to aim them to be able to put damage out. However, that one does go in. Once again, the spaced armor of the Sheridan coming into play. The T-30 thinking that he can pen with HE, but he actually can't. He's just going to auto-aim as he drives past this T-30, firing in. The other Sheridan on his team moves forward and takes on the Waffle. The Waffle's going to look at him. This T-54 is going to drive directly in between both of the tanks. Both the Waffle and the T-30 fire, allowing him to go back over. Now the Sheridan's dead. It's currently a 5v3. This game is not looking good. He needs to try and get a shot onto this T-30. Look at him baiting into his rear armor, his spaced armor, to try and get a bounce from the T-30. It does not work, but he does get a max roll. That's helpful. Now the T-30 is within an HE shot. The Sheridan in their spawn, as well as the Sheridan at mid currently, are also one-shots. So it's currently looking, if he can play well, like a 2v2. Now a 2v1, as long as he can clear these low health tanks. He kills the Leo. Now it's a 1v4. It was a 1v5 for a second there. He is on a reload. He needs to be careful here. Once again, HE doesn't go in from the hated player. He needs to pen this shot. He does. Now, 2 enemy tanks, both one-shots, and a mouse sitting in the cap circle. The cap circle is at 50. He needs to be very careful here. If he doesn't reset in time, it will be game over. Once again, it's a 1v3. He is clutching up. He bounces a shot from the T-30. Just once again demonstrating the sheer absurdity of this tank and its ability to simply outplay and outmaneuver enemy tanks, baiting that shot into his very angled frontal armor. There's the mouse. He's going to spot him and gets extremely lucky with where that shell goes. Had it hit the mantlet, it might not have rolled for any damage. However, he hit the gun, and he damaged the gun enough. Well, he damaged the gun, which reset the base, which allows him to rotate back towards the enemy spawn and see if he can get flanking shots on the mouse and the Sheridan. Now, looking at the cap circle, there is only one tank in the cap. It's only ticking up once, not twice. And so now we know that there is only the mouse. The Sheridan has left the cap circle and is now hunting for Supreme Carrot. We don't know where that Sheridan is, but chances are he went towards Supreme Carrot's spawn and not his own spawn. Because otherwise we would have already seen the other Sheridan and had a very close encounter with him. The mouse is only a 2-shot. This is an extremely winnable situation, especially with the Sheridan being 1 shot away from death. He will be reloaded soon, and the Sheridan comes. He stops, reverses, and takes the shot from the Sheridan. Interesting choice, but it does clear the Sheridan from the game. He now has 4k damage, 6 kills, and a mouse that he needs to 1v1. He is a 1-shot. If he gets shot anywhere, and that was very, very close. The mouse, if only he was a tiny bit faster. Now, he bounces a missile off of the mouse. The mouse is very heavily armored. And then he backs up. He could have probably hugged the house in front of him that he was in front of before. Now notice, the sandbags just broke directly in front of him. He thinks that the mouse is driving to his left, but it turns out the mouse is turning. The mouse turns, fires at him, and shoots underneath his tank, hitting his tracks. He bounced his first shot. He has less DPM than the mouse. The mouse will reload very, very soon. He bounces the second shot off of his spaced armor on the rear of his tank. Now, he has the reload. He just needs to pen this shot. And he does it. 4.7 thousand damage, 7 kills, and a Call of Banov's medal in a rating battle. Congrats to that. Bit of a misplay towards the end there, but overall an absolutely insane result for Supreme Carrot. Clearly, he has over 6,000 rating. he is a very good player in Void, and he was able to apply himself and use his strategy and outplay capacity of the Sheridan to outplay the enemies. Thank you all for coming, and I will see you all in the next video.